Welcome to Rusty Shipyard. Since the devs allowed us to add electricity and industrial components to boats, today we're building 5 automations that will be useful for everyone. For this, I built this boat. Please don't look at the boat itself as an example. It's more of a learning platform. And honestly, I haven't quite figured out how to make really cool boats yet. I mostly just went with what I like the look of. It doesn't sail very fast though. The boat itself has 2 compartments and a deck on top. The front compartment is the bridge, where I place the steering wheel, anchor, and 3 engines. On the deck, I've got about 10 cannons, 10 sails, and 10 solar panels, which will power our boat. And in the rear compartment is the loot room, where we'll actually be building our automations. So here's the loot room. Lots of boxes, a tier 2 workbench, a bed. I also added a battery behind glass, and below it some electrical branches to power our electrical systems. Then we'll add another glass panel to protect the power source even more in case of uninvited guests. As you can see, it's a bit dark on the boat, so let's add automatic lighting that turns on and off based on time of day. We'll start by installing lights all around the boat. Next, we need to place a digital clock. This will determine when to turn the lights on. I want to put this on the bridge so I can also see what time it is while steering the ship. We'll also install a memory cell and an electrical branch. Let's run power for all this. We'll bring it into the electrical branch. For the clock to work and send signals, it needs 2 units of power. Now run a wire from the clock to the toggle field on the memory cell, and the rest of the power from the electrical branch connects to the power in on the memory cell. As you can see, the memory cell has 2 outputs. One is powered right now, the other isn't. This is what the whole system is based on. At certain hours, the clock will send a signal to the toggle field on the memory cell, and these outputs will swap places. So in the evening, lights turn on, in the morning, they turn off, at strictly defined times we set. Right now, let's take a wire from the output that's powered to power all the lights and make sure the electricity I allocated for this system is enough for all the lights. Then we'll configure everything based on what time of day we're building this and our preferences. All lights connected. Now let's configure the system. First signal we'll set for 10 a.m., second one for 6 p.m. And since we're building this during the day but want lights at night, we'll manually switch the lighting to the unpowered output so that at 6 p.m. the clock will automatically turn the lights on. System's ready. Let's see if the lights turn on at 6 p.m. Yes, they turned on. And at 10 a.m. they turned off. Perfect. The next system is auto sorting. It's not mandatory for all the following systems, but it is pretty complex. I connected all the next systems to it because I love when you can just dump everything into one box, it all sorts itself, ore and wood go into furnaces that automatically light up, finished materials sort themselves again, and then automatically go to the auto crafting system. I'm just enjoying the game, going PvP, whatever. But if you react to complex systems like in this meme,
what the fuck is this?
Then just skip the auto sorting system and check out the next ones. Everything in its own time. It's not necessary for all the following systems. You can implement them separately on your boat. Also, drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the lighting system. And watch till the end. There's auto crafting waiting for you that'll make sure you never run out of syringes or ammo again. All right, auto sorting. Place an industrial adapter on each box in the system. Then install industrial conveyors next to each box. Not every box needs its own conveyor. For example, if you need 2 boxes for components, one conveyor can handle both boxes. Now run pipes from the conveyors to the adapters and configure them right away. You can do this manually by entering the item search field and selecting it from the list on the left. Once you've added all the necessary items, hit apply. But that's not the only way. You can copy the item list in JSON format and paste it into the conveyor by holding Shift. You can get this JSON data from a conveyor you've already configured and save it in a text document on your computer, or you can copy it from a special website. Link to that site will be first in the video description. There you'll find my presets or create your own, and you'll never have to enter this manually again. And so on with each conveyor. Now let's power the conveyors. Power the first one, then from it to the next, and so on until they're all powered. Since they're already configured, you can turn them on right away. Now let's combine everything into one network. For this, we'll install industrial splitters and connect pipes from them to the conveyors. Plan ahead so you have one free output on the splitter for each box, and add a few extras for the future. We'll also install several industrial combiners to connect boxes, furnaces, and so on to the sorting system as inputs. Now, as shown in the video, we'll combine the combiners into one network. Connect the lowest combiner to the highest splitter. Then combine the splitters into a network as well. Next, run a pipe from the splitters to each conveyor. Now we'll make one of the boxes the sorting box, the one where you'll throw everything and it'll sort into the others. Technically, you can make all the boxes in the system work this way if you connect a pipe from their adapter output to the industrial combiners. Strategically, I'm connecting just one first, the one where I'll dump ore. This is already a setup for auto-smelting ore. System's ready. All that's left is to throw in some resources and check if everything sorts correctly. As you can see, yes, resources sorted into the designated boxes. Some are empty because we didn't have that type of resource, so everything's working as it should. Now let's install automated electric furnaces. Place 3 electric furnaces, put storage adapters on them, and install an industrial conveyor nearby. Add a blocker and an electrical splitter to power the furnaces. Run a wire to the conveyor. Now let's configure the conveyor. In the item search field, add the ores we'll be smelting. In the max field, add the value shown in the video so ore gets sent to the furnaces gradually. This is important because furnaces will run as long as there's ore in the box, so it needs to be fed slowly. After configuration, turn the conveyor on. From the pass-through field, run a wire to the input on the blocker, and from the filter fail field, run a wire to the block pass-through on the blocker. This will turn off the furnaces when the ore runs out in the output box. Now, from the blocker's output, power the splitter and immediately power the furnaces from it. To connect the furnaces to our auto sorting system, we'll install additional industrial splitters. If you didn't build auto sorting, you can just connect a box directly to the conveyor.
As you can see, the furnaces turned on because there's ore in the sorting system, but nothing's coming in yet because the conveyor to the furnaces isn't connected. Let's fix that. Look at that. Ore is going into the furnaces and finished materials are being collected and sorted into boxes. Now let's build automation for regular furnaces in case you need charcoal on your boat. We'll start by placing 3 furnaces. Install storage adapters on them right away. Next to them, install an industrial splitter and 3 conveyors. Connect the splitter outputs to the conveyors. Conveyor 1 will check if there's wood in the auto sorting system, Conveyor 2 checks for ores, and Conveyor 3, when both are present, will load resources into the furnaces and give the ignition command. Let's install an ore switch next to the first 2 conveyors and also a blocker. A bit lower, we'll install 2 electrical branches. From the filter fail field of the first conveyor, run a wire to one of the ore switch's inputs. Do the same with the second conveyor. Now, from the output of the ore switch, run a wire to the block pass-through on the blocker, and from the blocker's output, power the third conveyor. From the electrical output of the third conveyor, run a wire to the input of the first electrical branch. From the power out field of the first branch, run a wire to the input of the second electrical branch. Now install a timer and an igniter above the furnaces nearby. From the branch out field of the first electrical branch, run a wire to the timer input. From the branch out of the second electrical branch, run a wire to the toggle on field of the timer. And finally, connect the timer output to the igniter. Now let's power all this. Run 8 units of power to the first conveyor. From it, power the second, and from the second, power the blocker. Let's configure the conveyors. On the first one, add only wood and turn it on immediately. On the second, add ores and turn it on. On the third, add ores and wood. In the max field, add the amounts shown in the video so it doesn't load full stacks into the furnaces, since the system checks for the presence of ore and wood in boxes. Now, here's how the system works. If the first 2 conveyors detect wood and at least one type of ore in the auto sorting system, no power goes to the ore switch and the blocker starts passing current, which turns on the third conveyor. It starts supplying wood and ore to the furnaces and passes electricity to the electrical branches. The first passes electricity to the timer, and the second turns the timer for 8 seconds.
Timer starts giving a spark for those 8 seconds, which ignites the furnaces. When wood or all ores run out, one of the conveyors will send power to the ore switch and it will block the blocker. Wood and ores will stop feeding into the furnaces and they'll go out. When wood and ores are both back in the system, everything will start again. Super smart if you ask me. A few last touches. First, we need to connect the industrial splitter to the auto sorting system. Second, we need to connect the wood box output to the auto sorting system so wood can be pulled into the furnaces. Spark went off, turn on the third conveyor. Furnaces are empty because the third conveyor isn't connected to them yet. Let's fix that. Connect the last furnace in the network to the auto sorting system, which will collect the finished resources.
Again, you can build this system around a single box where you throw wood and ores. The furnaces will take them and return finished materials to the same box. That's the option without auto-sorting. If you can't immediately figure out how to do that, there's a link in the top corner to a video where I built this same system but with one box. Remove the wood to restart the system. And immediately put it back. Everything's working. Resources are feeding into the furnace and finished materials are being collected.
And the final boss, the auto crafting system. We'll start by installing 2 auto crafters on the workbench. We also need 2 conveyors for input to the auto crafters and 1 for output. Since I have an auto sorting system, I'll make a buffer box to be able to manage items in the auto crafters. If you want crafted items to go into one box, you don't need a buffer. To connect 2 auto crafters to 1 output conveyor, install an industrial combiner, add an adapter to the buffer box, and connect everything with pipes. To power 2 auto crafters, I'm installing an electrical splitter. To power the system, run a wire to the conveyor that unloads items. From it, power the splitter, then from the splitter, connect the conveyors, and from the conveyors, the auto crafters. Let's configure the first conveyor. The first conveyor will transfer resources for crafting bandages, syringes, and low-grade fuel from fat, so we'll program the corresponding resources and limit the quantities according to what's needed to craft these items. The second conveyor will supply the necessary resources for crafting ammo and gunpowder. Configure accordingly. After configuration, you can turn on the conveyors. Now connect the conveyors to the auto sorting system. Again, you can replace this with just a box where you'll put the necessary resources. Turn on the auto crafters. For the conveyors to load the necessary resources, you need to connect the boxes containing them to the auto sorting system. Also, auto crafters need blueprints. You can get them at the research table. Fortunately, after recent updates, blueprints cost much less scrap, and this kind of system has become much more accessible. After getting the blueprints, add them to the corresponding auto crafters. Let's configure the output conveyor. Here I'm adding all the items we're crafting, and in the minimum field I set 1, and in the maximum field I set a stack, since it's a buffer box. If you just put a box where you plan to collect these items, set your desired quantity. As you can see, items are going into the buffer box, but we need additional steps for the system to work correctly. As you can see, the first auto crafter is crafting syringes while there are free slots in the output field. So I recommend either manually placing one of each item there or swapping blueprints around until one of each gets crafted, as I'm doing in the video. You can also close the extra slot with 1 cloth or 1 scrap. Then, by shifting blueprints, set your desired crafting priority order. Do the same manipulations in the other auto crafter. Now connect the buffer box to auto sorting.
Look at that. Everything's crafting and everything's sorting. Thanks to this system, you'll always have the necessary consumables, and you'll never be in a situation where you can't quickly go PvP or run a monument because you need to craft them first. Long video today, huh? As you can see, a boat can be turned into an electrified factory that does all the dirty work for you while you're out having fun. On the downside, as you might have noticed in the top right in the building menu, there's a 120 item limit on boats, and I went way over it. So if you're copying these setups completely, keep this in mind and make your loot room with fewer boxes. Then everything should fit. I'm hoping the devs will increase this limit before the update releases on March 5th. I'd also love to see the ability to control the ship's controls, being able to remotely open sails, drop anchor, start engines, and supply fuel to them. Hopefully, the devs will add this in the future, and I'll make you a phone-controlled ship management setup, so you don't have to run around turning everything on manually. Also, I don't understand why, but door controllers can't be placed on boats right now. Not sure why that is. Subscribe, drop those likes, and fair winds to you. See you next time.